lesson is that sometimes we just get into these habits of getting up in the morning, putting foundation on you, no blowing out our hair, and it's just like, what do you look like if you don't do that? You're not going to scare anybody. In 2023, Pamela Anderson broke her silence about Tommy Lee. For 25 years, she kept the darkest secrets of their marriage locked away. It wasn't just the stolen tape that destroyed her. It wasn't just the violence that ended their marriage. There was something else, something she's never admitted before. In her new memoir, she reveals what really happened behind closed doors. The confession changes everything we thought we knew about their toxic love story. Pamela Denise Anderson came into the world on July 1, 1967, in a small town called Ladysmith on Vancouver Island. Her dad Barry was a furnace repairman who sometimes cleaned chimneys wearing an old top hat, and her mom Carol waited tables at a pancake house called Smitty's. They were barely more than kids themselves when they had her, and money was always short. Pamela would later call their home a tiny little shack. Sometimes they survived on welfare, and when her parents split, things got even harder. But the real nightmare began when Pamela was 6. For the next 4 years, she was abused by a woman who was supposed to be looking after her. This babysitter didn't seem suspicious to her parents. She brought toys, including a used Barbie head for styling hair, and gave Pamela little gifts that made it seem like she cared. But in secret, the babysitter forced her into horrifying games and kept her silent with threats. One time, Pamela even tried to fight back. She grabbed a candy cane-shaped pen and tried to stab the woman in the heart, but the abuse didn't stop until years later. Her parents never knew. They thought this woman was helping. Then came 1979. Pamela was just 12. She went to a friend's boyfriend's house. Her friend left her alone there with the boyfriend's older brother, a 25-year-old man. At first it seemed innocent. He taught her to play backgammon. But then he offered her a massage, and what followed was a brutal rape. It was her first experience with a man, and it was violent, silent, and scarring. For decades she said nothing. It wasn't until 2023, in her memoir Love, Pamela, that she opened up about it. She wrote, "I was in shock, falling apart. Molecules, dust, liquid, my life evaporating." She blamed herself, thinking she was somehow bad, and carried that shame silently for more than 30 years. That single moment ripped away her innocence and left a scar that would never fully heal. But it wasn't over. When she was about 14 and starting high school, she got a boyfriend. Like any young girl, she trusted him. One day he invited her somewhere, and then he, along with 6 of his friends, took turns raping her. 7 boys in total. Her own boyfriend had planned it. It was a betrayal that went beyond words. After everything she had already been through, this attack broke something deeper. She said later that after it happened, she just wanted to disappear. She couldn't tell anyone. Her father was already gone, most nights lost in alcohol. Her mother was exhausted from working 2 waitressing jobs and cried constantly from the pressure. Pamela didn't want to add more pain, so she kept it all buried. This final act of violence during her teenage years made it nearly impossible for her to ever trust people again. That's when she began turning to animals for comfort instead of humans. Pamela Anderson never walked into fame. It collided with her. On August 9, 1989, she was just a 22-year-old fitness instructor sitting in the stands at a BC Lions game in Vancouver. She wore a snug lab crop top, and when the Jumbotron camera landed on her, the crowd erupted. What looked like luck was actually something more planned. The shirt had been given to her by a friend who worked for the company. Behind the scenes, Pamela had already been trying to get Labatt's attention with the help of photographer Dan Illich. That one stadium moment triggered so many phone calls to Labbits that within weeks she became the face of their Blue Zone Girl campaign. And just like that, a quiet life vanished. 1 month later, Hugh Hefner saw her beer at. He personally invited her to pose for Playboy. First, Pamela hesitated. She was raised conservatively and didn't see herself as a sex symbol, but her mother encouraged her. And by October 1989, she was on the cover of Playboy. It was her first major step into a world she never planned for. That same shoot just weeks after the football game changed everything. In February 1990, she became Playmate of the Month. In under 6 months, Pamela went from teaching workouts in small gyms to becoming a face known across continents. Her modeling fees started rising fast, and for the first time in her life she felt in control of her image, even if the path was filled with contradictions. Soon after that rise, Pamela made a decision that would follow her for decades. Inspired by other playmates and the growing expectations of the industry, she got breast implants. She went from a C cup to a 34D in 1990. Seemed like a move to level the playing field, something she was told was necessary. What no one knew then was that one of those implants would silently leak inside her body. For 9 years she had no idea. It wasn't until 1999, when she had them removed, that doctors discovered the leak. The health scare was real. The silicone could have caused major issues. She paid nearly $20,000 for the first surgery and then again for the removal. By 2004 she went through another operation, this time increasing to 36D. Over 14 years, Pamela's body had been reshaped and revised multiple times, costing her over $50,000, not just in money but in comfort and peace. In 1991 she moved to Los Angeles. By then Playboy had featured her multiple times. Eventually she would appear on 14 Playboy covers, earning her a Guinness World Record. Hugh Hefner once called her the DNA of Playboy. Her presence